Oh no!
Everything
set up? Good.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good. Okay, anybody tuning in on the stream, we'll just give it another minute or two. We're still expecting more people to join the party. If you are getting ready, you could dive in. Today is going to be Lab 9. We have a slight change in the curriculum, just because we're going to use today to spend a bit more time with the high order component. So Lab 9 was going to be the function as child, but the truth is that the high order component is used a lot more. And like you can do anything you need to with it rather than the function as child. So I think we're going to use the time to just focus on that first one a little bit more. So today we'll be doing validation stuff. So there's a small update in Leaflet. But if you are interested in taking a look at some of the function as child stuff, there's some good links. There's a learning example code in there, and some excellent articles that talk about why you use it. I feel like I'm getting good with my YouTube presence. Celebrity is around the corner. Yeah. Look out, PewDiePie.
I don't know if you forgot, but when I asked you about my lab 5, because I couldn't submit, I did the 5 and 6 together, and you said that you were going to grab the link from 6 and put in
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, because I can't.
Did I do it?
No, that's
I kind of thought that might be the case. Let's see if we can figure it out
because
here.
in CodePen, I put like 5 and 6 because I couldn't submit the 5.
Oh, okay.
And you need to grab my from
So that
6.
was 5. And let's see what we got here. Oh, this one here. Okay, so let me go in the database.
Today I was using my computer with my Firebase open. I didn't close the window. And then I saw that changed. And I was like, team 3.
Oh, that cool.
Like,
yeah, I sent you a bill.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with that stuff. All right, let's go in the database, see if I can remember the right place. We got to go to the submissions. Right down here. This database has gotten big enough now that we're now getting this message here where it's not showing me real time anymore until I actually, it's too much with everything that's going on. So I actually have to click inside now. So so that means we're like, you know, we got a lot of stuff going on. So let's go to submissions. And then 420, yep. And then we need lab 5, right?
Yeah.
That's the one. Okay. Close these ones down. Oh, I gotta grab your ID. So I haven't memorized your ID.
Oh yeah, me neither.
So let me go here. And here, and then what's the email address you're using?
Pietro Miglii
at
Hotmail.com.
Excellent. Let me grab this one. And then head back here. Go on lab 5, and then. So I think, well, I should actually not find you because that's what happens when there isn't this mission. Oh, okay. So let me add one in here. And maybe we should get your link.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
first.
Then you need to go to lab 6.
Lab 6.
He started writing some shit that didn't make sense.
And grab the one from there. Right here. Grab this one. Boop. This one, and then back in here. And now we can go add this, put in, oh, I need this. So it stores it under your ID. Then down in here, we'll put, I'll actually copy a submit date, but we'll put the URL first. Here, and, oh God. I should really not fuck up our database, you know that?
Oh yeah.
Like Adam will kill me. Actually, I would just leave town.
Just disappear?
Yeah. Fake my death. And I'll put the same submit date right here, which is like a time code thing. And then feedback submitted, I'll just put false for that. I'll throw this here. Okay, so let's check lab 5. It should be showing up.
I didn't know that when you change was like from Firebase. I thought you were able like to see from here.
Some things I can, but we've spent more time on the students' side than on the instructor, because I know enough. I can go in and do a lot of stuff in the database, but we do have a lot of tools, like for making lessons and stuff. I have tools for that.
Yeah,
there we go.
Like,
so let's first of all, let's change this, just so you don't have like an F showing there. And then I'll put a little comment for myself to go in and do a proper review.
Because if you guys like work on that, you will be able just to go to the Leaflet Learning and edit from there, right?
That would be great, yeah.
Okay.
We have some tools, like, here, let me show you something cool here. So if I go back to here, oh, sorry. I mean, that was cool too, but like from any of the labs here, I can now click on here, and this is how I can assign mentors. So right now I've got Devin and Theo available.
Assign who is gonna look
exactly, and it's drag and drop. So I can grab Carolina here, and I can say, oh, you know what? Let somebody else have a try here, and I can like move it around, which is pretty cool. And then I've also got this one here, which is the lab editor. So from here, I can go to any of the courses, select the class. I can make any kind of updates I need to in here. So, you know, I can also use this to add
here
links.
the presets, like the things preset.
Yeah. So most stuff I can do. It's just the little things like exceptions. Like when I got sick, I had no way of like rearranging things. So stuff like that we still got to work on, but it does help me out a lot. Yeah, I'm liking it. I mean, it's making my job more fun.
Oh yeah. And easier for us too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, guys. I like the energy in the room. Let's get settled in. We've got a pretty good chunk of work to do today. Oh, let me get my projector going. Also, if you see me walking away from here without taking this microphone off, be like, stop! Okay. I don't have my wireless today.
He wants you to like comfort. You should do green. Purple. I'll show you someone I know. Purple is really good. Purple is it's gonna fade out. I'll show you though. Did you That wasn't nice, so I threw it in the garbage. Because I'm not trying to catch some shit.
Chichi is a good guy. Like I was saying, Chichi, don't do that thing. He's like,
No, I sent it to her, but she's the only one I know who has that one. That auto log.
Okay, so why don't we start off with a little bit of review, guys. First thing I would like to say is thank you everyone for stepping it up. Because like last week I was a little worried, man. You know, I noticed like a lot of people not really getting time to work on their stuff, but I know you had like a big project due. And I appreciate everybody who went back and did a bit of extra work on that stuff. That's awesome. It's a lot more fun, the last review, seeing what everyone had done. So today we are on to Lab 9. So you're going to be forking our stuff from yesterday, basically, and submitting that fork for today. So I can show you real quickly what our goal is for today. Right here we have an example. And this is pretty much what we had going on yesterday. But you'll notice, let me get rid of this. You'll notice if I click the submit here, then I'm getting this little thing listing out all the stuff that I haven't filled in yet, right? So it's validation, basically. So I call this like the little bit more basic validation. It works really well. It doesn't have all the fancy stuff. Like, for instance, I don't have a style being applied on the text fields that are not valid yet. There is more that you can do with this stuff. If you're interested in like the more fancy example, we've got a good link for you. If you go to down here into the resources, sorry, Lab 8. Adam's got a fully advanced fancy version of this thing right here, HOC for validation. This one is has more features. Like it validates in real time, for instance. Like while you're typing in, it's doing the validation. Whereas the one we're going to do today is a little simpler because it validates when you go to submit. So both work really well, and what I'd say is maybe follow along with what we do today together, because I think it's a little easier to grasp. Then if you are keen to do more, you could dig into Adam's example here. But fair warning, it would take you a little bit of time digging through it, probably, if you're not used to doing a high order component. But it is there for you. The one that we are going to be looking at here is streamlined a little bit more. So we'll just kind of go step by step, and we should be able to get this working for your example, given that, forms all work pretty much the same way, and we've got a lot of similarities in our forms. What will be unique for your form is the rules you will create for the validation. So here's what I mean by that. For instance, I've got a rule in here that says that the invoice must not be blank. So this makes it like required, but I could also put a rule in there to say, oh, it must also be a number, and it can't be a string, That would enforce that this has to be a number. And so the way that we will build this, you'll be able to create your own rules like that and apply as many of them as you wish. So what might another rule be? Well, let's say my invoice numbers all have to be at least 4 digits. That might be a third rule I would apply to this field. So our goal here is that we'll be able to build this in a way that you can apply as many rules as you need to for each of these fields. That's kind of our first goal. Yep, Mike?
Oh, sorry, we're putting the same Lab 8 and
Yes, you're going to fork your work from yesterday, Lab 8, and then we're on Lab 9 today.
Oh, but when you mark them, they're going to just mark 9.
Nope. Nope.
Mark 8.
Yep. Same as always.
You're going to see 9's progress in 8, though.
Not if you fork it.
Oh, if you fork it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just checking if you're paying attention.
I'm on the job, man. I know it's a little weird, like this back-to-back classes like this. It does kind of mess with things, but just what we got to do. So. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully with your stuff from yesterday, you've got the basics working. Like, let me bring it up.
My phone is
Hey, what's this? Hold on. This looks like my old one. Where's my previewer? Give me 1 second, guys. I think I might have put an old link in here. Invoice preview. There it is. We are on Lab 9 today. True. I was bringing up to review. Yeah, but I think this link is old, so give me 1 second. I'll find the right one. Yes, here we go. So this looks more familiar now, right? So hopefully you guys have something pretty similar going on, but you can see what the problem is, right? Like right now, if I just enter in an invoice and the rest is blank, I can still submit it, and then, that causes some problems over here. Right here in my invoice total, I'm getting this NaN, which stands for not a number, which is true. And then down here, it's like there's nothing in the hours and there's nothing in the rate or anything like that. So validation will save us from this kind of embarrassing situation where your client's going to be like, great, I got it for free. It just says zero money. So second question for you guys. Do you guys have your calculator calculating the amount in here? Okay, let's take a quick look at that first. So what I did was I went back and I took the Invoice Calculator class from our previous example. So this one right here. So you're going to need this little chunk. I believe it's from Lab 3, I think we did that one. But if you want, you could maybe just grab it from my professor mode session here. I am on the Lab 9 now. And this thing should let us do that calculation. I'll give you a second to bring that one in if you don't have it yet. Now this calculator is actually even a little bit overpowered for what I need here, because it's capable of going through a list of hours and providing a total. And you'll notice my little field down here, just accepts one set of hours. But if I wanted to, I could update this code so that I could actually, you'll see this in some systems here, I could actually set it up so that I could put commas in and list out my hours, like day by day. So let's say I had a little journal or something where I was keeping track of my hours. Rather than having to add them up myself, I could put them in like that and let the calculator total it up for me. Now, I haven't done that yet, but if you guys are interested in that, I can show you how to do it. For now, let's just get it calculating the hours here. So it's really only got one function in it, just to calculate invoice. But you see what it receives? The rate and the hours, which is exactly what I'm collecting in my form here. So let's take a look and see where we're using the invoice calculator. If you do a little search here. Right here. So here I'm in my, I'm inside of the invoice preview, and I've inserted this one little expression here where I'm getting my total. So if you've got something in your state for the rate and something for the hours, here's where you would want to do your calculation. See if you can get that working. If anybody wants, I can do the debug thing as well.
This code is on the right side?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you make a good point there, Terrace, because like there's two ways we could do it, right? We could calculate it before we put it in Firebase. Mm-hmm. In this case, I'm calculating it afterwards. But either way would be good, you know? I'm a little bit of a fan of calculating it afterwards because if you think about it, like there are some edge cases. Let's say, for instance, you're using this to calculate tax, and then maybe the tax rate changes, right? If you've calculated the tax already and put it in your database, then it's going to be harder to go back and change it. The other little thing that I stuck in there was this little second expression that just says whether it's overdue or not, based on that checkbox that I'm using. So I know this little expression looks a bit weird. This is what I've mentioned is called the ternary operator. And looking at it, it basically is like an if-then statement, all done in one line using this little question mark and the colon here. So what it's basically saying is like, look in the state, and if there's a property called overdue, then yeah, say overdue. Otherwise, say not overdue. So the little colon here is like an else, and the little question mark here is like a then. It's a way of doing logic without having to make an if statement in there. Guys want to see something cool while you're doing that? Let me jump over to my first semesters for a second here. You guys will like this. So I'm doing, responsive HTML stuff with these guys. And let me show you Vince's stuff here. Here's Vince. So he's doing pretty good, right? Like he's got his responsive working pretty nicely over here. He's got rollover states on his stuff. He's doing some good work, but like what I wanted to show you guys, like, well, first off, like, he is on it with the feedback. He's asking a lot of questions. He's like proposing ideas and so forth. So that's kind of cool. But partway down here, check it out. This is my man Theo right here. So he's basically done a handover now. I've mentioned before, like I have a new mentor starting up in here. And so this is his first time actually giving feedback. And it's actually the first time the mentor is not somebody that works for me. So this is kind of cool because like he's got a different perspective coming from a different company. So that's pretty neat. So yeah, kind of a big occasion for us because we've been very long, you know, working to this point of being able to do that. That's pretty cool. Theo was one of my students, oh man, maybe 8 years ago, something like that, or 7 or 8 years ago. And then he came and worked in my company for a while, and now he's like the lead developer in his company. It's been really cool to see his progress. Okay, let's do it. Let's dive on in here, get some calculators working. All right, Mike's in there first. He gets the first award. Oh man. It's just funny seeing the one thing on there. So let's see what's up. Okay. Money field is not defined. Okay, let's take a look at that. I'm guessing I know what that is. Oh, let's see here. So it sort of looks like you are trying to use a component that you don't have. This is inside of the invoice preview.
I don't think the calculator's going to be honest. That might be.
Well, it's complaining that money field's not defined, right? So I'm looking at this one up here. And I'm thinking that maybe you just don't have that component. So let me try to take it out of here for a minute. So we'll get rid of that. Oh, I'm guessing that maybe that's one that I have that you don't. Let me take a quick look. Do I have a money field? I do not. So let's just get that one right out of there. And then we'll see what we got. So we'll remove this, we'll remove this, and let's see, okay, making progress. Okay. All right, let's see what else we can find here. Do we have an invoice calculator? Oh, we do not. Okay, let's go get it. So I'm going to grab the invoice calculator out of here. Oh man, people keep entering data in my thing here. Ah, God. Okay, so we need this chunk right here, our invoice calculator. And one little caution, guys, you want to declare this calculator like near the top of your JavaScript. If you put it on the bottom, then it may not actually be there before you're trying to use it, right? So in this case, ordering actually matters. So let's drop this invoice calculator right up at the top here. We'll put it right, maybe right after we initialize Firebase. Let's drop it in there. Okay, so now we've got a calculator. Oh, hello. Yeah, you were right, dude. So, yeah, so in mine, I've got a component called money field, which is just like styling stuff. So you can probably just take that out and then drop in your calculator and you're good to go. Let's test it. Let's try it out here. I'm going to say the day is today. Invoice 1. Let's bill oddly. There we go. And you know what? But let's not bill me personally. Let's send it to Adam. There we go. And then we've got an hour's worked right here. So we'll say 10. And we'll say 10, so we know what the answer should be. Description of services. So you might have a little bit of work to do with your row here, Mike.
Yeah, I don't think those are linked.
Yeah. And
The top
then,
part works with the bottom part.
okay, let's see what's up. There we go. And look at that. So we got $100. So the calculator is working perfectly there. Good news. All right, let's take a look at who's up. Pietro. Let's take a look at Pietro Stuff.
Did you fork me?
I did not. Do you want a fork?
Yeah.
All right. Man, Mike's all about the fork today. That sounded wrong. I'm going to rephrase that. Edit it later. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at Pietro Stuff. So I'm going to make, nope. Oh, okay, yeah. Let me refresh. And, okay. So let me check and see if there's anything in the console here. Oh, it's that money field thing again. So in my example, I've got a component called money field. I think it just adds some padding or something. So let's go and take that out because I'm guessing like you don't have that. So you probably don't need it. So let's get rid of the opening here and we can get rid of the closing down here. Or the other option would be like we could actually make a money field component, but I think that's probably part of it. And let's see. What are we missing here? Okay. Let me, I'm going to fork this so I can refresh it and see if there's any error showing up. Ah, something. It looks like it's not liking, oh, unity price. Let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look at that. Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. So let's look at your calculate invoice. Sweets. I wonder about this one right here, where it says sweets amount dot unity price, and I'm wondering if it should just be, you know, dot unity price. That, yeah, because here's sweets amount down here. So I think we've got a little extra thing in here. Let's try take that one out. Come on. Let me do a quick refresh here. I think that would be part of it, but there may be one more thing. Oh, reduce of undefined. I think we might be looking at one of your properties. I think we might have the wrong name, but we can find out pretty quickly. So let's go in here, and what I'll do is I'll temporarily remove this one right here, just so we can look at your properties. So what have we got? We've got, okay, I see what's going on. What I would suggest, Pietro, is instead of having a unity price as 2 words here, you should probably make it a single word, because this space in here will actually break it when you try to access it like a variable, because it'll think it's like 2 variables.
But Tim, when we put the thing in the key,
Mm-hmm.
the name and the label
Yeah.
are different things, no?
They are different things.
Because if you see in my label,
Mhm.
that I thought is what appears, it's separate. But in the
So labels what,
name, it's together.
right. So here's what I think we should do. Right here where we have client name in 2 words, I would make it 1 word, like this, right? So this one, label, is what the person will see, but this is how it will get stored in Firebase.
Okay. And about key.
Yeah, and key is okay to have a space, because that's just used by React to find it quickly. Yeah, so that one's okay. So let's do this. Let's go here, and we'll say order number. This should be pretty straightforward. And here we'll say order date, like this. Contact name. That all seems good. And then let's see. This one's fine, sweets amount. Unity price is fine, so this all looks good. Here I'm going to say let's make it 1 word for the order description. Just like that. And then checkbox is fine. So this I think is going to be good. So let me give it a try here. Client name, Adi. Order number 001. We'll say today. And this one is going to go to me, because I want these pastries. These are not for Adam. So we'll say 3. It's probably like cupcakes, right? Oh yeah. How much is a cupcake? Like, I'll say like $1.50? Something like that. And here, 3 cupcakes, which are definitely urgent, yes. Right here, and submit. Okay. How is client name still showing 2 words? Did I not fix that one? Client name. Why are you still showing 2 words? Let me refresh. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay, great. So then I think we can bring back our calculation now, and it should be okay. So let's give it a try. We'll go to the previewer. And then I think it was right here, yeah? Invoice total, and then it asks the calculator, and unity price, and then there's sweets amount. Do I have those backwards? So unity price, yeah. And then the sweets amount. You know what? I think it's backwards. I think the parameters need to put the sweets amount and then the unity price. Let's try that. So we have this, and then we'll put this. What am I missing? It's something right in here. So here's the open. Here's the close. Is it showing any other error?
In that part,
Yeah.
the overdue,
Yeah.
mine, the name is urgent.
Maybe. Let's take another look. It's something right in there. There's something I'm missing, like right in this area here. This one here?
Overdue is urgent.
Let's try that. Yes. Yeah, lab 9. Oh, what am I missing? I'm missing something here. Because, like, if we take this out, then we're okay. So it's something right in there. Invoice Calculator. Calculate invoice. Let's make sure I don't have a typo in calculate invoice. Invoice Calculator.
Then can
And
you change the street amount and the position in the parameter?
possibly. Possibly.
Because we already changed the CT position.
Oh, what is this? You know what? Let's double check this. Because right here, I'm saying suite's amount, but here I'm seeing suite value.
Oh, because it was, I think,
But you already did. You put the hours, the amount, and then hour.
Yeah, I think it's the calculator. The calculator is the problem. Let's double check this. So let's see here. Let's look at that calculator again. So I had the rate, and then I had the hours. Let's see if that makes sense here. So the price, yeah, and then the suite's amount that does make sense. Let's double check this. So we made a new variable called the total. I wonder. Nope, we do have total. That's good. Should this be unity price or suite's amount? That's what it is. Yeah, we want this one here. Suite's amount. That's right, because it should go through each element in the suite's amount. So I'm pretty sure. Hey! Oh my God! Woo! Oh man, I feel a great sense of relief there. And it looks right. $4.50. That's right? 3 times $1.50. Is that right? Oh yeah, I'm streaming. Yep, Lab 9. I should be streaming. Yep.
Sorry, I mean, CodePad.
Oh, the professor mode? Yep, right here. But I'm just doing some debugs right now. Okay, you know what? You probably don't even need a fork, right? Because if you fix that. Okay, let me give it to you. But I think the only change I made was that one suite's amount. Everything else seemed pretty good. So let me send this to you. Oh, I'm glad we found it. That's right. And maybe Nari. Okay, let's see. Emily. Let's see what Emily's got. Is Emily here today or you're on the stream? Okay. So you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar problem. Let's see. Let's take a look. Okay, so, it's saying that it can't find a client name of null. All right, let's take a look for that. Now I wonder if it's possibly because your data is gone from Firebase. You know what I mean, Emily? Because like right now, if it's not in Firebase, then there actually would not be any client name in there. So I think the first thing I want to do is maybe throw a little console log in here to show what we are getting actually from Firebase. So let me put it right here in the invoice update. Let's just make sure the data is actually in there. I'll even put another extra little message here. Just so we can see what's up. And let's see. Doop doo doo doop doop doo. Let's see. Do we see it? Okay, so here's the data. And what's it saying? It doesn't know client name, is that it? So there is a client name. So that seems okay. So I would say, yeah, I think we're having a problem probably in the renderer. And I'm going to guess that it might have to do with the calculator. So let me fork this so I can do some refreshes here. And I'm pretty sure we're going to find it quickly. Can I read property client name of null? Oh. I know what's going on here. Okay. Guys, take notice of the problem that we're having right here. This actually might start hitting some of you guys right now. If we go down to the renderer in the invoice preview here, see how I'm getting this message, cannot read property client name of null? I believe what's happening here is that it is trying to do its render before it has actually gotten the data from Firebase. Remember in a previous lab we were talking about that this can happen? So let me show you how we can fix that, because I think this could hit more people. So here's our invoice preview. And right down in here, here's our renderer. What we need to do first off is check and see if the data has arrived or not, right? So here's what I'm going to say we should do. We'll put a little if statement in here, and we'll say if there is no, say, one of the things we're looking for is the client name, right? So this tells us if the data is not here yet, then we should return something like, you know, a little notice that the data is still loading, like this. Remember we did this one time? Yeah. There we go. So what'll happen is, like, if it hasn't loaded the client name yet, then we should see this little still loading. But if it has loaded the data, then it will go to the second one here and provide that. So let's get that one in there. Now we may have one more problem. Let's see if we can find it. What's going on? It's still giving me that problem. Not sure why I'm still seeing that problem. Let me refresh one more time. Maybe it's an old message? What? Not, This is stumping me a little bit because, like, right here, I'm checking for if client name exists, but it's still giving me this message, client name of no. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, typo, line 270. See that, guys? This should be state. Oh my God. So what's happening, right? Here, down here where we're saying this dot state, well, there's no state yet because up here we weren't setting the state to like an empty object. So that is the problem. But to be honest, this is still good practice here, Emily, to have this little check in here, just in case the data hasn't loaded yet. This will cover you. So it'll say still loading until it finishes loading, and then it will go to the next render here. But really, the big problem was line 270. Let's see if the calculator is doing its thing. Yeah, cool. Oh my gosh, somebody is like late on 2,700 bucks. Better get on that.
Kill them.
Yeah, kill them. I mean, no, don't kill them. But really kill them. All right, so let's see. These are some interesting challenges we've seen here. Where are we? Sunny, let's take a look.
I have a quick question. I have the same error with her.
Okay.
But just to see her problem is always not overdue, but mine is always overdue.
Ah, okay. I think also maybe Paresh had something similar. So let's take a look at that. Let's see if we can figure that out. Let's see. So it's saying not overdue, and then let me try make it overdue, and let's see what happens. We'll say Acme Corp this time, and email address tim@bot.com. There we go. M3J2K9, Ontario. Man, this is getting good, eh, guys? Look at all these fields. This is pretty awesome. And then a billing rate, I'll say like 60 bucks, something like that. And then I have a question. Okay, this one I'm gonna say overdue. Okay, so let's see if we can find out why this is not showing overdue. I'm going to make a guess, and I say it might be the spelling on overdue here. I'm wondering if we have the capital letters in there. So let's take a look in the preview. Somewhere. This one, right? Or this one, yeah. So, overdue. And yeah, there we go. So it's basically just this one here. So try that as well, Nari, and see if that works for you. You got it? All right, good. All right. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just wondering, in the preview component, there is first is the JSON.string225 and struct blanket b space, comma null, comma 2. So I'm just wondering, why do we use the null and number 2 in the JSON?
That is a good question. I unfortunately don't have a good answer. I was trying to remember yesterday. I think it has to do with the formatting of the JSON.
Yesterday you told us let's bring the JSON file
Yeah.
to the database,
Yeah.
Firebase, and then you just type that code.
Yeah.
But I think you didn't explain about the null and number.
I think you're right. If you remind me, I'll drop a note in Leaflet, I'll find the answer.
Okay.
I think it has to do with the formatting, but I'm not positive. So you got me. Okay, let's see here. How are we doing? Cool. Now, did you have you had something with your checkbox, right, Paresh? Yeah. I remember you asking a question about it.
It was when I'm taking the text.
Yeah.
It was not updating in real time. How to refresh the page?
Okay. Should we take a look at it?
Yeah.
You wanna send it to me? Let's take a look. Since we're looking at this checkbox stuff. Oh, you're welcome, Emily.
I have an error
Oh,
submitting.
all right. Let's take a look.
One, yeah.
Let's take a look.
If I error, I get my invoice number is not probably submitting proper.
Ah, okay. Let's figure out what's up.
I think it's something to do with my statement.
Okay. I'm just gonna close a few of these. Okay, let's see what we got here.
If you just type in the information and submit, you see.
Okay, let's give it a try. 001. We'll bill good old Oddly. And let's send it to Adam. Here we go. And we'll say it was 10 hours at $100 an hour development. We'll make it overdue and submit. Okay. It looks like it's working.
But okay, if you click OK, you see what's happening.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, let's find that. Snapshot not defined, eh?
The number, if you look at the invoice number, it says NA, but you entered 001.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, let's look at the snapshot since it was talking about that. This looks good to me. I don't see a problem with that one. Could maybe we could maybe do some console log action to get a little more information here.
I did the console, but it's not telling me anything. I don't know.
Let's see. Let's take a look at everywhere that's using the load data. This looks good. Are we using it anywhere else? So just in the one place. So we should definitely be able to find this. Let's go into the invoice update. Oh, you've got a console log here. Okay, cool. Let's see. You know what I think is maybe going on here? Let's take a look at this invoice number field. Maybe it doesn't have a name. That would do it. Let's take a look. So this would be in the controlled form. And what do we got here? It does have a name, but it's called client name. Oh, I see what's going on, Amit. We have the same name being used in two different fields. Yeah, so you see your line 209? This should be the probably the invoice number right here, because the second input there, the name is called client name, which is actually true. That's what we want in the second field, right? And then the third one is your contact name. So I think that's what's going on. Let me run this and try and submit again. So we'll say 002 and company Oddly, Tim, 10, 100. I'm also getting to test your tabbing. It's all good. And we'll make it late and we'll submit. Okay, that seems good. Yeah, we've got an invoice number now, so that's good. Boy, why are we getting this second alert? That's error in submitting. Snapshot is not defined. Error in submitting. I wonder, all right, let's double check your on submit and make sure that we're preventing the default behavior of the form, because usually a form will automatically try and refresh the page if we don't put prevent default. So I'm wondering if that's happening and that's why we're seeing this twice. So let's take a look at that. Nope, no, you've got it. It's in there, right here. Wow, it's like it's trying to do it twice. Let's see, do we have some other... Oh, that seems okay. Here's what I want to do. Let me put a console log right here in the onsend. And let's see if it's actually trying to do it twice. All right, let's give this a run. Try this again. I'm going to clear my console so I don't miss it and submit. So looking in the console, I only see the sending once so far. So that seems good. And everything is okay. Wow. What is going on there? Because it only tried to send once. So that seems all right. And the amount, it does look like it's going in okay. Huh. Did that just work for you? Well, I mean, it's working. It's just weird that we're getting that second error there. We might have to. If it starts giving you a problem, like it won't let you continue, then we'll take another look at it. But we'll definitely find it. Like, if not now, we'll find it offline. Yeah. I mean, Because I'm not seeing anything obvious. I might have to dig in it a little more to find what's up with that. Because I do see the data in there, and although, oh yeah, the calculator is working. 3 times 3 is 9, so, although, you know what, dude? That isn't actually what I entered. Oh, because you entered 1. Gotcha, okay. Well, you do seem to be working okay, so we'll just have to solve the mystery of that extra message coming up. I'm not sure why, but we'll find it. I wonder, no, I was thinking, you know, maybe it's a permissions problem in Firebase, but that doesn't seem like it because it is going in, so. Sorry, dude, we'll have to look in it. Okay, let me take a quick look at Parash's here. And, oh yeah, sure. There we go. There we go. Boom. There we go. And then we're taking a quick look at Parash's here. And it seemed like it was a problem with the checkbox not doing what we want it to. So let's give it a try. So right now we see that the tax is set to true. If I go like this, so I'm going to leave the tax off and submit. And we're still seeing tax true. Okay, let's take a look at it. Oh. Yeah, and it's gone now because it is false. So it seems like it's just to do with refreshing the screen, right? So let's take a look. So here's our callback. We could probably put a little console log in here so that we know when it's trying to refresh. And let's take a look. So we do see it when it first loads, but now let's see if we see that when we try and change this. So we'll say 002, A, 10, 90, A, and this time I'm going to check the tax on. So we submit. So we do get the refresh the screen message for that, and now it shows, but now let's try and change that. So I'll uncheck it and submit again, and we do trigger the refresh the screen. And now it shows false.
Yeah, but when we are refreshing the page and we are trying from the first,
Yeah.
it's coming false.
Yeah. So my first thought is like maybe we have to give a default value for the thing so that when the page first loads, it's automatically set to false. Because it's always going to be false when the page first loads, right? So maybe we can do that. Maybe we can give a default value inside of our controlled form. Where you at, controlled form? Here we go. So right here in where we set this state here, I'm thinking you could actually just supply a default value in here, like this. You know? Because like then, it will automatically be set to false unless the person checks on the thing, and then it will overwrite that value with the true. So give that a try. Let me know if that does it. I gotta move on, but I think that'll do it for you. Yeah. Yeah, let me know. Alrighty, guys. So, I think people are in pretty good shape now as far as calculating their invoice. Everybody's pretty good with that. So I think we could move on to the validation stuff that we want to do. So the good news is that we're not going to need to really change anything that we have here. We'll be creating an addition to what we have here. Because the way that a high order component works, it basically receives a request for the component that you want to use, and it makes it, and it gives it to you, but then it allows you to add extra functions to it. So the extra function we're going to create will just be called validate, and that's the one that's going to go through the fields anytime we try to submit and check to see if they're valid or not. So if there's an empty field, it'll be able to tell us, oh, I'm not going to submit until you actually fill in this field. So those are kind of the steps that we're after here.
Is validation that's already hardwired into React?
No, we have to make it ourselves. Yeah. So so let's get started with it. We'll take it step by step here, because we have to be a little careful with this stuff to not mess up what we've got going on here. So I'm just going to bring up my notes here so I don't miss anything. Sorry, give me one more second. I'm double checking because Adam also had some notes for this. Okay, I think we can, I think I'm ready to get started here. So we're going to make a new class here, and we'll just add to it step by step together. So I think what I'm going to do first off is I'm actually going to shrink some of these classes here so that I don't accidentally overwrite any of them. So let me shrink the calculator, shrink my API methods. I'll shrink up a couple more here. Checkbox, shrink. Submit, shrink. My input, shrink. Text area, shrink. I'll shrink the preview. Yeah, I'm just going to shrink as much as I can here. All right. So let me go in here, maybe after my controlled form, give myself a little bit of room to work with. And we'll make a new class. And I'm going to call this the validated form component. And like we usually do, it's going to extend the React component, because we're going to need the React lifecycle for this. Give yourself your constructor, and don't forget, in your constructor you need to call super, just like we always do. And then right underneath of that, we're going to have our own custom function called validate. So this is the extra stuff that we are adding to our existing form here. I'll put a little note for myself. Validate the form fields here. And for now, let's just put a console log in there so we can check if it's actually getting called at the right time. So we'll say, I will validate your form. Now, every component has to have a render function. But our render function in this component is going to be a little bit special. So let's make our render right here. And inside here, it's going to look a little different. I'm going to say this dot props dot form component. And it's going to have two attributes, but they're going to be kind of special. So you need your curly braces. We're going to say dot 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 this dot state. So we covered this a little bit in the previous lab. This dot 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 basically says any properties you have in the state, give it to my child here, right? So basically my whole memory, just pass it along to this child component. And then we're adding one more, which is our validate function. All right? So we're going to say validate equals this dot validate. And we should use our bind to this. So we'll pause just for a second there. This does look a little strange, I'll admit it. But what we've just created here is like a wrapper component, right? We're going to tell this guy, here's my controlled form, give me one of these. And it's going to create it right here in the render. But inside of here, it's also going to add on the validation, right? So we're separating the validation from the form. So the benefit is our form can stay as it is right now and stay nice and simple. the validation can be its own separate component on its own. So the extra nice thing with that is like, we'll be able to apply this validation we create to multiple forms. So that's our goal. Let's get to it piece by piece here. So we're going to create one more function right above this class here. We'll say const add validation to form equals, and we're going to make a function here. This is going to look a little strange, but bear with me. Yep. We're creating what we call a factory function here. Now inside of here, here's how it's going to work. We're going to say, let's use that validated form component. Oh, sorry, I forgot the little arrow. There we go, because it's component. Validated form component, just like this. And we give it a prop called form component equals form component. And then up here in the first round brackets, here's where we're going to put a parameter. I'm going to pause for a second. Just be a little careful with your typing here, because this is a little different from what we've done up to now.
Why do you need the square blanket inside the render and return?
Which line are you looking at?
219 and 231. There's the component is inside the square blanket.
Oh, curly braces, not squares.
I mean
Oh, inside these little arrows?
yes.
Yeah, because it's actually a React component. So every time you want to use a React component, you place it inside of arrows like this. Yeah. Now see right here?
Yes.
Because this is our component we've just created. So we're now using that component.
But the 231 is inside the React component, right? The 231. The line
231?
Yeah, this from component.
Yes, so okay, so let's walk through it step by step here. So right up here, what we've created, this add validation to form, this is our what we call a factory function. Okay, so this guy's job is to create any form component that we want and add on validation. All right? So we're going to use this parameter here to specify what component we want. So we're going to want to use our controlled form that we've created. So what happens is, right here, it says, okay, let me make a validated form component, and I want to tell it about the one we want to use, which is our controlled form. So when you see form component here, this is actually a prop. So down here, we're saying, whatever component they're asking for, let's make one. So this whole little chunk right here, This is a prop now. Yeah, yeah, that's what's going on. We're creating the ability to dynamically create the component we want. And then we're adding on a validate function, right? So it's kind of, okay, I'm going to go to a fast food reference here. So let's say you walk into your favorite burger place. Who's with me? Everybody likes this. So you walk in and they have a new burger. You're like, oh man, give me the new burger. I want to try that. And they give you the burger, but then it has fries with it. And you're like, what the hell? You're charging me for these fries? And they're like, no, man. It just comes with the new burger. You're like, yeah. Your anger is turned to joy, right? So what's happening here is like this guy up here, this add validation to form, he's the guy at the counter. And we walk up and we say, hey, I want a controlled form. And he's like, great, here's your controlled form plus validation, right? Like, we didn't ask him to do that, but his job is to automatically add the validation on for us, right? So the way that he does it is he says, okay, let me make one of these new validated form components right here, because right here, I'm going to say, here's, you know, the burger that you asked for, but I'm also going to add on this validation. All right? So that is my quickie summary of how this works here, right? So the reason why we're doing this is because we probably want to be able to add validation to any form that we are using here. We also don't want to change the form we already made because it's good. You know, it's working great. We want to just add more to it to do the validation stuff. So it is a little funny to look at. It does take a little bit of getting used to. I would say this is like a little more advanced React pattern, but it does get used a lot. So I would say like, stick with me on this because like even, you know, for anybody doing React, they have to see this a few times before they get comfortable with it. So our main goal here is just to like get it working for you. Then in your leisure, you can go through it, reason about it, ask any questions that you want. All right? Okay, let's see. I think, yeah.
Before you start adding the class,
Mm-hmm.
did you add something else to make it work? It's not working and I added exactly the same.
The only thing I did was just shrink some of them so I don't accidentally, you know, delete anything. So let's, you want to throw it at me? Let's take a look. I'm guessing maybe a curly brace disappeared or something. Let's take a little look here. Something about the super. Maybe you have a capital on super? I'm checking the curly braces. Those seem okay. That looks pretty good too. And does this close okay? So it's something right in here. What are we missing? It's got to be something like a little curly brace or something like that. And that one's closed, yeah. Oh, I think this is missing a return. Did I miss that too? Yeah, I wonder. I may have this similar problem to you. Let's put this in here. Return, like this. So it's not that. There's something else in here that's giving it problems. Yeah, we'll find it. It's definitely in here somewhere. So extend, oh, capital C, I think. That's it. Capital C. But I'm glad you mentioned it because I'm also missing the return here, which we need. So let me go back to mine and put that in because I missed that. Be careful with that one, guys. Don't let that throw you off. We have to put a return in that render, just like we usually do. In the render, inside of our validated form component, I forgot to put the return with the round brackets. Yeah, so I've put that one in there. Yep.
Put the return in the render,
Yeah.
and you put the capital C in the validated form component, right?
Yes, right up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what else? That's it?
Yep, that's it.
No, I think that mine and it's still,
Do you want to save and I'll refresh?
I say,
Boop. Boop. So let's see. It was the validated form component. So that's in there. And that's in there. This one's gone. Man, that is so loud. I swear that is the only thing I changed, Pietro.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Because even in yours, it was working when you changed it. And now
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
I see. In the control flow,
Yeah.
there is a link that the lowercase c, you have to change it the capital C. Control the flow.
Oh, in controlled form.
The C.
Oh, wow. I don't know how that got in there, Pietro. But you've got a lowercase c on your controlled form now.
Probably it works, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure how that got in there, but that is definitely it.
Thank you.
Nari is on the ball.
Just take the error message.
Okay. So far so good, guys. Like up to now, all this really does is provide a way for us to create any component we're asking for and add one more function onto it without having to go in and actually change that. So let's see if we can actually get this to show up as it is right now. Yeah, so let's try this, guys. So we've got our add validation to form, we've got our validated form component, and let's just go underneath of that, and we'll make one of these. We'll say const enhanced invoice form. Now you can call it anything that you want, but I feel like this name is badass. Equals add validation to form. So we're calling that function we just made. And we got to tell it what form we want. Well, we want the controlled form, the one that we've been creating. Now let me put a little note here. So hopefully it's a little more clear what we're doing here. So we're creating a controlled form using a factory function that adds on validation. I'm going to take my time on this part because I acknowledge that this stuff can be a little tricky here. You got to do it a few times before you get comfortable with it. So if your mind's a little blown right now, then that's cool. It means you are a human, not a robot or an artificial intelligence. So let's see if we can actually put this on our page now. So we'll go back down to our UI, and where we've got our controlled form, I think we should be able to drop in our enhanced invoice form. So right down here, here's my controlled form. Let me try change it up, and I'll say enhanced invoice form. Fingers crossed, man. Let's see what we get. Hey, it's the exact same right now. like that's what I wanted, right? Okay, we'll definitely check it out. Okay, fair enough. But like, here's what should happen. Basically, it looks like the exact same form, right? But what we've done is now added on the ability to add validation to that form. So we really shouldn't see it change yet. We're going to go back and add some things to that validate function that will automatically check these fields for us. But step one is just making sure that we can get it showing up there. Let me check my console, make sure I don't have any errors showing up. Give this a save and a quick refresh. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so perfect for me right now. So I'm gonna open up the chat window. All right, let's get into it. So I think Nita is first up. Let's take a look, and we'll just go a little carefully here. Make sure that we've got everything. So it says right here, enhanced invoice form is not defined. So if I'm looking into the example here, we have a function called the enhanced invoice form down here. Let's bring it up. Leaving all that alone. So right here is where my new stuff starts off. So we added this one, add validation to form. We added the validated form component. And then the last thing we made was this one here, Nita. Enhanced invoice form equals, and then it actually calls that function. And it says, hey, validator adder guy, I want a controlled form. And then this guy says, okay, here's your form, but I'm also going to add the validation, just like adding the fries. So I think you might not have this one. Let me grab this, and let's go to yours. We'll go to your validated form component. So here's the first one, and that looks pretty good to me. Here's the second one, and that looks quite good also. Oh, typo. C for V. Boom. That's what it is. Yep. You know, you got to get used to that C and V if you're going to copy paste. That's the only thing. It was your line 260. Yeah. You've got a advanced or enhanced.
Yeah, I tried to follow you, but
Yeah, no, this is good. This is, if that's the only problem, you're getting good at this stuff. Yeah.
Should we see if it works then? How will we know it?
Really, there'd be no change. It should look the exact same.
Okay, for me, it
Yeah.
looks the same.
Perfect. Excellent. Let's take a look and see anybody else here. Let's go to our good friend Crosver.
It's not showing up. It says like it's not defined. Control form.
Okay. This is not surprising for like your first high order function here. So typo, dude. I see controlled from. You got your OR reversed. I'm going to bet that's it. So let me check the next one. If you still got a problem, we'll come back. Winlim. Let's check it out. So Winlim kind of becoming a bit of a superstar with being the first person getting her data going into her invoice design last lab. Well, so it's nice to know that she's not perfect. So we got controlled form is not defined. So I'm guessing that maybe you called it something different than controlled form. Let's find out. So this would be whatever you called your form here. So maybe it's got a different name. Here, let's try this. I'm going to make a bet. I'm going to bet you spelled it with one L. So let me search for this. Nope. So let's see. What did you call your form? It's maybe something different. Looks like... Oh, control form. Yeah, yours is control form. So that's what we have to use. So let's go back there. And it is right here. You want control form. There we go. Now, just while I'm in here, one thing I would be careful about, your spelling on this validate. Just be careful on that one. 330. You can spell it however you want because it's just a prop. But I'm seeing two A's in there and I'm like, oh man, that's going to give you trouble. Line 330. Yeah. I mean, you can call it anything you want. So if you want to call it like that, that's fine. But it just looks like it might be a typo. So just be careful. So are you good with that one? And your form came back and good. Okay, let's see. Oh, cool, cool, good. And TJ, let's check out TJ's here. Let's see here. It's almost, everything is just typos, right? So I'm going to make a bet and say you need a D, invalidated. That's my bet. Anybody?
I'm gonna say he misspelled.
Anybody?
Control.
Let's check it out.
Here we go.
Oh snap! That's what it is. You need a D.
For control.
Right. You need a D.
You need the V.
In here. Right here.
$5.
There we go. There might be something else. Let's see. Validate. That was line 275. And then let's take a look at your little enhanced invoice form here. That looks good. There's something in your render it's not liking. So let's see if we can find that. Oh, the return. Dude, this is totally my fault because I forgot it originally. Well, you know, it's not totally my fault, but so let's add the return here. Oh. Let's add this, and then this, and then I think that does it. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Yeah, I think that should be put you in good shape there. Anybody else? Looks like everybody else has this working. Great. Okay, so just let's pause for 1 second there. What we've done is it's like the end result is the same, but what we're actually seeing on the screen now is no longer just the form, our regular controlled form. What we're actually seeing is this validated form component now. So the reason we're doing this is because this little function here, the validate, we're going to add some more code in there that will be able to look at each of the form fields when we hit the submit and decide if this is a valid, complete form or not. So if it's not,
if you didn't fill any one of the text area, then it's not.
That's right, and it won't try and send it into Firebase. So we'll actually stop our database from getting messed up by incorrect form entries. So the first thing we want to do is just see if we can get this console log showing at the right time, because that should show when we hit the submit button if we're doing this correctly. So let's go to our next step here, and our goal is just to get the validator to kick in when we try and submit. So initially it'll just be a console log, but then we'll start fleshing this out properly. So you'll notice that down here we added this prop right here called validate. So this validate function is pointed at our little validate right here, and it's getting injected as a prop into whatever form component we have asked for here. So since we're asking for our controlled form, this means that controlled form now can call the validate function. You see? Let's give it a try. We go back to our controlled form that we've previously built. It's working all pretty good. And inside, it has this onSend that we're calling when the person hits the submit button, right? So this is a good place for us to run the validation, because now they're trying to put it in the database. So let's make a little change in there. Right, it's going to look like this. Right in here, let's call this dot props dot validate. Yeah.
I have no idea.
You call it every day, man.
Not true, man. He's in Japan or something, right? He's
Yeah.
enjoying ramen while here hustling for a job.
Have you ever seen abandoned people like that?
You're in Japan. Isn't it ramen? And
That's
stuff?
right. So when we keep it down, guys. This is crucial. so right here, this onsend. This is what gets called when the person hits the submit button, right? So what we're doing here is we're saying, like, before we actually try and send this to Firebase, use whatever validate function has been added to me as a prop. All right? So let's review just a little bit here. So if we go back, right here, we're saying add on the validation to whatever form we're asking for, right? So right here, we've got this validate function, and we're adding it as a prop to whatever form was created. So the end result is we make our controlled form, and now this validated form component adds on a validate function for us. Yeah. So I think if we hit the submit now, and we're watching the console, we should see the validation kicking in. It should say, I'm trying to validate. So let me give it a try here. This is a big moment. Don't let me down, brain. What are we doing today, brain? Okay, so I'm keeping an eye on the console. Let me clear it. And when I submit, do you see the very top there? Yeah. So we're getting closer, right? Like technically it's not changed anything yet. It's still sending it into Firebase no matter what. But we now have the capability of doing validation, because you see it's at the very top of the console there. So the first thing it tries to do is validate. So now we're in a really good place where we could add some code that will look in the fields and decide whether they're valid or not.
So the information is going to Firebase just if it's valid.
Exactly, exactly. We're actually going to put something in there that will keep track of how many validation errors there are. So it'll actually know if there's like 5 errors or 1 error, and only if there's 0 errors will it let it submit. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, this is going good. This is going better than I thought. I thought we would be in some trouble by this point, but it looks like we're doing pretty good. Anybody is having a problem with that so far? All right. You know what to do. You know what to do. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Because it's pretty important for us to get this part working correctly. The next part will be easier. This is the tougher part.
Mine says that
So,
unknown prop form component on validate form component tag. Remove this prop from the element.
okay.
It says in the console.
Unknown prop form component. Okay, I think I know what this is. Let's take a look in your validated form component. I'm going to turn on your auto update again, just because this is a pretty safe place to do it.
I called validate with not the capital. I did it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be an issue, because React components must always start with a capital letter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because that's how it knows the difference between a component and a regular HTML element, because those are always lowercase. Yeah, so I think that could be the problem. Let's take a look. Here we go. So we got our add validation to form. Yes, I think that's probably it, Amit. So I'm going to make this a capital V here. And then I think we got to be careful. You might need a D in there, validated form component. Let's check. We'll make, yep, it does need the D. We'll make this a capital V. And we are close. It looks pretty good to me. Let me fork this.
I have a feeling it's because I'm also rendering it inside the controlled form, the enhanced.
Oh, that could definitely be a problem. Yeah, you do not want to do that.
Yeah, because I don't need the UI. I think I did separate.
So here's your controlled form. Oh, yeah, okay, so what you've done is kind of made an endless loop here, right? So you don't want to put your enhanced invoice form in the controlled form because the controlled form is inside the enhanced invoice form. You know what I mean? Like you've got like a inception deal going on. So let's move it out of here. You want to put it in your UI.
The thing is, I didn't make a UI.
Oh yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go down to your UI down here. Oh, what?
It's called, I'm calling it directly to the control.
What's going on?
That's my mistake.
How did I miss this
I did something wrong.
in the feedback? You are going to definitely need to make a UI, my friend. Let's see here. So it looks like, so then where is your preview showing up? Here. So your preview, your preview is actually inside of your controlled form. Okay, I mean, you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. Because like that preview, you want it to be, you want to be able to reuse that anywhere that you wish. So I would probably try and keep your form separate from your preview. I would have them be separate things. So I really think you're going to need to make a UI here. Yeah, like otherwise the validator is probably going to get confused because it won't know what to do with that preview stuff. But it shouldn't be too hard, right?
Making a UI.
Yeah, take a look at this little section down here where we've got UI. And it should be pretty straightforward to move your preview into its own separate place in the UI. Other than that, I think your stuff is fine once you make it an uppercase V. So work on that a little bit. I'll come back to you. All right. Yep. Oh yeah? Interesting.
Yeah, fire it at me. Let's see here. Molly, do we want to take a look? All right, let's check it out. Okay, let's find out. I do see the little red thing. So let's take a look around there. Let's see. Okay, let's check the console too. Nothing on the console. Okay, let me close this invoice preview for a minute. This okay, line 181 is looking a little strange to me because you see how it's like white. So I think we might have got some typo in here somewhere. Let's see if everything's closed. So here's our constructor, and that's closed. This is closed, that looks okay. This one looks pretty good. Let's check the render. Is the render closed? It is. I wonder about some of what I'm seeing in here. Like this, I'm not sure. Oh, I see. So you're just wanting to put a space in, right? With this little curly braces here? Or were you wanting to put in quotes? Here, let me try remove that for a second. And let's see if we can, and then maybe this one I'll remove too. Let's see. Because I feel like it's something right in here. So here's our opening, here's our closing, that's okay. Invoice total. So then there's our invoice calculator, there's our opening and closing. And then here's an open and a close. I mean, it looks pretty good. Is there something else we're missing? There's something like it's not liking right here. Yeah? And then that caused the problem? Let's try temporarily just to remove this and see. Nope. It's like it's missing a closing tag because it's thinking there's a problem right here. Let's see, here's opening and closing. Oh, this one, money field. I think this money field's giving you trouble. If we remove that, okay, at least our warning went away. So that money field one, I think you don't have one called money field. So that one can come out. Let me fork this so I can refresh. That's what it was. You have a little money field in there. And that one's got to go. Let's figure that out. Let's put a little console log in the load data to see if that's getting called. So this is getting called, so that's okay. And we do see the data showing up, so I think that's all right. Oh, this says construction. You want constructor. Yeah. It's like a transformer. Constructor. That's what it is. And then I think you're in good shape. And it looks like your form is showing up, so that's all good. Should we test your submit? Let's test the submit while we're in here. I see you also have a lot of nice new fields in here, so good job. Let's try this. 02, let's see, let's bill Oddly, and this time we'll bill me for 30 hours at like $60 an hour for making sandwiches. There we go. And submit. So what I'm watching for is the message from the validating function. So let's keep an eye on the console. And we don't see it yet. Yeah. So that's making me wonder why we are not seeing the new stuff today. Let's take a look. Help me out here, guys. Let's go check it out. So we should be seeing a validator function. Okay, so step one, we have our factory function. This one, I'm going to, this probably would work how you have it, but I'm going to request, like, let's put some round brackets on it, because in our next step, we're going to add one more thing in there. So let's do that. And it returns the validated form component, which looks good. Here's our validated form component. It's got a constructor, it's got a validate function, it's got a renderer. This looks good here. I'm thinking we're maybe just not using it yet. Here's our enhanced invoice form. That looks good. Let's see if we're using it in the UI here. Enhanced invoice form. You know what? I know what it is. We have one change in our controlled form now. It's the only change we need to make. And it's just to call the validate function. So let's go back to your controlled form. And let's see if we've got it. Yes, right here. So let's put it in just before we try and send it to the database, because that's where we want to check. So we're going to say this.props.validate. Just like that. So let's try it one more time here. Let's say this is invoice 3. Who should we bill this time? Let's see. I know. Let's bill Mike. There we go. How much you want to charge Mike? $1,000.
$2,000, man.
$1,000 an hour?
No, $2,000 an hour.
How many hours?
2,000. You're only going to work 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay. He just needs $2,000, you know.
20 seconds.
He clearly was at the racetrack this weekend. So what we're looking for, Molly, is we want to make sure we see that little message that the validation is going to happen. So let's try it. And there we go. See how it says, I will validate your form? Yeah, yeah. So let me give you this fork. You got it? Nice. Okay, let's see. Wyndham? Are we looking at Wyndham? Hey, Wyndham? Are we looking at it? Okay, let's check it out. Anything in the console? Looks pretty clean. So let's try your form here. Okay, let me try and let's see. We'll keep an eye on the console. And oh wait a minute. What am I seeing? Whoa, we have two forms. Oh, okay, let me refresh. Okay, I think I know what's up. Okay, so we're back to 1. Great. So, because I'm betting that you had both your controlled form and your enhanced form at the same time, right? Yeah. Okay, let's give it a try. And let's submit. We'll keep an eye on the console. Yeah, I see the message. It says, I will validate your form. So, I'm not seeing that. I didn't get that message. Let me refresh. Everything is working okay for me. And it is showing the right stuff. Somebody just submitted and it worked. It wasn't me. So I think you're okay there, Wyndham. It looks like it's working to me. Okay, let's see what's up with Mike. And
He said it. I had controlled form and enhanced form.
Okay, cool. Well, since I'm in here, let me test your form here. So today, 001, oddly, Tim, something, 838, something more. And so we're looking for that little validation message. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
I think you're in good shape there. So let's jump onto there. So I think we're doing pretty good here. So the next thing we need to do is implement some validation rules. Okay? So let me show you what I mean by a validation rule. All right. So looking at my form here, let's say I want to make sure that there's an, yeah.
Sorry, why doesn't it actually put the information? Why doesn't it clear everything? Actually,
because we don't tell it to. We could do it. We could do it for sure. Maybe we'll circle back and do that. Yeah. A couple of people did actually get that working. I'm trying to think who I saw. Actually, I think Nari's got that working. After the form is submitted, she has something that is creating some default values for the form after that. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't think so.
No?
Actually, I'm just waiting for the asking some stuff because just to make sure the validity date. Validity date is if I didn't fill full of the info
Yeah.
It doesn't submit.
That's right.
But mine is already submit very well.
Yeah, we're not finished yet.
Okay.
So now we got to actually put the rules in there. As long as you can see your console log, then at the right time, when you hit the submit, then that's what you need. And now we'll move on to actually making it work. Yeah. So so let me show you guys what I'm talking about with a validation rule. So let's say, for instance, up here, the invoice number, I want to make sure that, you know, that they have to enter in an invoice number. So let's start working on some rules here.
If blank.
Yeah, but there's a little bit better way that we can do it that will be a little more reusable for us. Here's how we're going to do it. Let's go to the top of our validation area here. Make a little note for yourself. Rules for validation. We'll start off with just one rule, right? We want to make sure that there's an invoice number here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say const rules equals, and we're going to make a little object.
We don't need a capital R.
No, this one won't be a component. This one is just going to be a regular old object. Now inside of here, we can list down any of the properties that we want to apply a rule to. So for instance, if I want to apply a rule to my invoice number, then I will list out invoice number, just like this. You're going to put a colon, and then we'll create an array by making square brackets.
Square bracket, why?
Yeah. Well, the reason we're doing the square bracket to make an array is because we may actually want to put more than one rule in here, right? So let's say, for instance, with the invoice number, maybe I want to have one rule that says it must be filled in, but we might want a second one that says it must be a number, no letters allowed.
But actually, we can make only put the number using the type.
Yes, exactly. If we're smart about it, we could do them all in one. Yeah. So yeah, you're getting the idea. So we'll start off with one rule just for the invoice number, and square bracket, and then one more square bracket inside of here. Now the reason why we're putting another one inside is because later, if we want, we can add more rules. Like maybe I want one for client name. You see what I mean? But for now, let's just make one. Let's start simple. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Inside of this array, we're going to have two things. One will be the function, and then the second will be a message that we should show if this rule fails. So first, let's do our, yeah. So the first thing we'll do is we'll write our little function here. We'll say value, and then we make an arrow function, and we can say value and value.length greater than 0. So looking at that, what we're saying is like, whatever value you got from that text field, take a look at it. And first of all, here, I'm going to, sorry for folks on the stream, I've just got to approach the board for a second. So here we're saying like, okay, give me the value that I got out of that form field there. And then first thing I'm going to do is looking at does it have a value? If it's empty, then this will fail. The second thing I'm going to do is say, is its length greater than 0? Right? So here I'm saying like there must be at least one character in there. So you can put in as many checks as you want. Right? You were mentioning, guys, we could do type of here and say, is it a number as well? So it's up to you to sort of figure out what rules you want to do for your.
So when you say like number, boolean, true.
Exactly. Exactly. You could check for type of number, type of string, so those could be useful for you. So I'm doing the simplest version here. So that's our little check. That's our rule. And the second thing we need, so put a comma, and this will now be the message that we should show if this rule fails. So you can be descriptive in here. I'll say must have invoice number. Why don't I put one more rule in here, since we're in here? We can put in one for the client name. So make sure you go to the end of your square brackets here and put your comma, exactly. Then we'll make another square bracket. And inside of that, square bracket. So it all should line up pretty nicely here. Oh gosh, let me put in the name of what I want to check. So I'm going to check my client name right here. There we go. Let's make sure everything's closed. So this one has a close. This one has a close, looks good. Now I can write my second rule. So I'll say, let's look at the value of the client name. Let's make sure it's not blank. And I can probably do a pretty similar rule here. I can say value.length. In this case, I'm going to say like greater than 2. Please provide a company name. So these rules are looking pretty good to me. So we're just going to go step by step here. So make yourself a couple of rules. And then we actually need to pass those rules into our enhanced form here, right? Because we've got a validator function, and we have to get those rules into the validator if we're going to use them. So let's make a little change here. In our add validation to form, we're going to do a little update here. Okay, so inside of our add validation to form, here's where we make our validated form component. Right here is where we're giving it the controlled component. We're going to add one more attribute. We'll say rules equal rules. When we do that, we're now able to add a rules parameter, just like that. So be careful with that one. So we made a change to the add validation to form, and we're now giving it rules, and then we're adding one prop called rules.
So you have rules, three times rules, right?
Yes.
Say no to them because the moment you give people a finger, they want the whole hand.
With friends like this, right? So we need to do one more thing, guys. When we call the add validation to form, we need to now give it the rules we created. So go to where you've made your enhanced invoice form, and now you can add the rules. So let's see what we did here.
You went to rules, you went to rules. And you add an enhanced form. In the enhanced form, you also add the rules, right? Yes.
Yes. So without looking at the rest of it, just looking at this line that we've created here, you can see how this is pretty powerful, right? Because we can make whatever rules we want for checking these fields. We can also use any form that we have. And by just taking those two things and passing it to this high order component, they'll automatically start working together. So it's very flexible. Like, let's say you have another form on your site, like an order form. Well, now you could make rules to check that they've filled out the order form correctly, you know? So this should work really well for you in pretty much anything you want to do.
The warning sets things.
Okay. Well, here, let me first make sure mine's working. Let me clear this. Give it a save. And a quick reload. Yeah, I'm doing okay. So, Nari, do you want me to take a look? Oh, we're not done yet. We have a lot more to do. Yeah. I know you're anxious to get this working, but we're going to go carefully. So the next thing I want to do is check in my validator. We want to check in our validating function to see, like, just can we see the rules, right? So we're getting there piece by piece. If we can see the rules, then we're getting pretty close to enforcing the rules. So let's go back to our validate function. So we're going to head back to our enhanced form here. And we'll update our little console log. Right here. Here's our validated form component. So this guy should now have access to those rules. Just checking my notes real quick here. Yeah, good. Okay, let's go in here to our constructor. And we'll add a little line just to say this dot rules this dot rules equals rules. And then in our validate, let's just try to do a console log with those rules. We just want to see if they're in the right place to use them. So when you get that in there, we'll try on our, okay, we'll try on our form.
Console log this room.
And this is what I wanted to see. Because you see in my console it says, I will validate your form. And then over here, here's my rules. So they're ready to be used inside of here now. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, let me put a little note here. We now have our rules. We need the values from the form. Now it will actually be pretty easy for us to get the values of the form in here. We're just going to pass them as a parameter. So in the round brackets here, let's make a little parameter for ourselves. I called it fields and values. So we have to go back to our controlled component, and when we call this validate, we'll just give it the values now. So this should be pretty easy. We'll test it as well. I'm going to put a console log, a third console log in here, just to show me the fields and values. Now, it won't work just yet. Let's go to the controlled component, and we'll just give it the value from the onSubmit. So I'm going to go back to my controlled component. So really all I've done is, add this new parameter here. So let's go back to where we call the validate in our onSubmit. Right here. Here's the onSend. Here's where we're calling validate. And we're going to give it this dot state. See? Because right down here, that's all of our form fields, right? That's everything the person's filled in on our form. So we're just going to drop this dot state in here. So in your controlled form, when you call the validate, now we're just going to give it everything in memory. So all the values from our form fields, we're going to send to the validator. So the goal here, if you're sort of like thinking about it logically here, we've now got the rules that we want to use inside our validator. Now we're going to give it the values. So our next step will just be to use our rules to check those values, and the thing and our validator will be working. All right. So let me give this a quick test. I think this is a pretty good place to wind it up if we get this working. So let me try this out. 002. I'll bill myself. Now this time when I submit, I believe I should see everything needed to run validation. So let me try submit, and let's see what we got. So it says, I will validate your form. Great. The first object, here's my two rules, right? So I want to check the client name, I'm going to check the invoice number, and then right below, here's my values. There's my client name, and there's my invoice number. So everything is in the right place to make this validator work. Well, we should find out why. So here's what I'm thinking, guys. We've covered a lot of ground here. The main thing, the thing we're going to be checking for is like, do we see this showing up in the console here? So I'm going to, I could go a little further here, but I don't want to rush on this. If you're super curious about this, you can look in the link on Leaflet where everything is complete on there. But I feel like this is a good place to pause this right here. And let's do a couple debugs. If anybody's not seeing this showing up yet, let's see if we can find why with the remaining time. Hit me. Who's up?
Oh, but they have two forms for some reason.
Yeah, because you have the control form and the other one inside of it.
Yes.
I've kind of lost track of the chat window. Is anybody submitting something to look at?
Somebody sitting in the chat window? Somebody submitting something?
Yeah, I have one.
Sunday submitted.
You want me to take a look? Yeah, hit me. This one? Let's take a look. Oh, okay. So let's see here. Interesting. Okay, let me try your form here, Nida. Now, one thing a little strange, the labels I can't see. So I don't know. Oh, they're gray.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just try this here. So I'll just do the invoice number and let's try. This looks good. This looks good. So in your console, the first thing we see is that it's going to try and validate the form. The second thing we see, here's your rules, right? So you've got a rule for checking the client name. You've got a rule for checking the invoice number. So that's great. And then the next thing we see is like, here's the value. I only filled in the invoice number, so there's only one value, right? So you are perfectly set up here. In our next step, we'll write a little bit of code that just uses these rules and these values to check. But I don't think we should get to it today. We've done a fair amount, and I don't want to boggle anybody's brain too much here. But you're in a good spot with this. Yeah. Yeah, you could work a little bit on your design and your layout, but it looks like your logic is good. Let's take a look at Sene. I feel like there's one more thing I want to do while I'm in here also, because like I want to check that button and see if the immediate query works. Let me give it a try here. Oh, beautiful. It's totally working. Yeah, it was just a curly brace that got missing there. So let's run the form here and let's see if we have everything we need. So I'll say 001, oddly, and I'll just fill that out. So let's clear this and let's see what happens if we submit. Submit. Hey, this is looking good to me. So looking in the console, we see the message that's going to try and validate. We see 2 rules, so that's good. And we see the 2 values that I added in. Yeah, very good, very good. So our next thing we'll be doing, like for instance, you've got an invoice. Oh, I do see one thing. Be careful. You want this to match your design order. So make sure your rules. That's looking good. Anybody else want to check? So everybody's in a pretty good spot with that? I can't tell you how happy that makes me, right? Because like I was thinking so much about how to teach this concept. Because like most of the tutorials that I've seen on this, they're so confusing, right? Like this is not like a basic concept we're doing here. So if you feel, you know, fairly comfortable with this, if you really want to show that you know what you're doing with this, you could try adding 1 or 2 more rules, right? Because you'll have to look at your fields that you're using and make sure that they match up with the rule that you're creating. So in the example we just looked at here with Sunny's, one thing we noticed, the rule was called invoice number, but she was using order number. So be careful about that because you want it to match the name of your field. Otherwise, it won't know to apply the rule.
Right now, it's only going to show up in the console, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So all we're doing is putting in the rules to see if it shows up in the console.
That's right. Yeah. So if you're curious about seeing the final thing, then here's what the validate looks like when it's complete. Oh, come on. Okay, so the chunk we haven't done yet is this little chunk right here. That's our actual validator, all right? So I figured let's do it next time because we do have to create a little loop inside a loop in order to check all of our rules. So that's what we'll be doing. I know you're going to give it a try.
No, different thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the class, you put the values and values in the parameter
Yes.
and something in there 3
Yeah.
times. But we don't have a fields and values. So
Fields and values.
set up the fields and values there.
Fields and values is a parameter. So you can call it anything you want. If you just want to call it values or something, you can call it that. But it should receive all of the values from your form fields. So the same stuff you'd be sending to Firebase, now we're sending it to the validator first. And if the validator says it's okay, then we'll continue to send it to Firebase. Yeah. Woo, I'm spent. If anybody was on the stream, I apologize if the audio was a little weird. I didn't have my regular microphone, and a couple of times I had to remove my mic to go to the board, but hopefully that didn't hold you up. And thanks for tuning in. I had some guests, so I'm going to